Going into Rio has been quite a complicated process. I think if you look at the bureaucracy and the place where the UN is right now, they have a huge document they have to get through. They're looking at the institutional framework for development and the green economy. What I would like to see them do in the weeks and months between now and Rio is pan back a little. I would like them to remember what Mrs. Brundtland said in 1987, where she said that sustainable development is about meeting the needs of today without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. That's the vision that I would like to see going to and through the Rio process. And I mean, what I'd like to see in many ways, I think there are three things that I think I would count a success if we could get them out of Rio. First of all is an integrated look at sustainable development, so that, as I say, it isn't just about the green economy and the institutional framework. It's looking at sustainable development in the round, looking at the social dimension as well as the economic dimension, making sure that we take environmental protection seriously, and making sure that if we have a community, which we work with, like there's a community in Madagascar which saw that it was overfishing. It saw that fishing stocks were going down, and the community itself identified the problem as increased demand. So what did they need? They needed some marine conservation input, and they needed access to family planning services that they didn't have. Now, I defy you to find an EU budget line that would be broad enough to embrace marine conservation and family planning in the same project line. So the first thing we need is that level of integrated thinking, not just in Rio, but also in the way that we conceptualize the work that needs to be done, and we facilitate the availability of funding streams that can fund that kind of integrated program. So that would be the first thing that I want to see. The second thing that I'd like to see coming out of Rio is that the discussions take place within the context of a world at 7 billion. That is very different to the conversations that took place in 2002. When I say that, I am not calling for a return for targeted programs. We know that those programs are wrong, that programs based around coercion are not the ones that women will identify as having anything to say to the way they want to live their lives, and will not speak to their ability to see, ah yes, this program will help me get agency in other parts of their lives. What we want is increased investment in voluntary family planning services that respect and protect rights. That's what we want. And I think that Rio represents a fabulous opportunity for us to re-identify family planning as a core development priority. It's difficult, because donors, like everybody else, like something that's new. There's nothing new about family planning. The technology is safe, effective, it's acceptable, and it works. We just need a lot more of it out there to be accessible to a lot more people. So although it's not new, it's what's needed. And my second hope for Rio is that it gets integrated in that way. My third hope for Rio is that in and of itself, as a global event, it is successful. Why? Because we are coming up to discussing the MDG successor framework. And what I want to see is a really sophisticated look at sustainable development, coming up with sustainable development goals in a world that makes sense of 7 billion, where there are still millions of women without access to the family planning services that we take for granted, and taking that concept to the job of developing the post-MDG framework that will frame development for the next 20 years.